Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000. This is Mechanicus, and I think this is going to be the last mission for us. We did all the missions. We got 92%. Definitely could have had that lower. In retrospect, I would recommend if you're going to play this, do the low-level missions and then run to Kepra's missions here, because then that'll unlock the additional tech priests, so you can get the full 6 for your cohort here. And then you can just totally start upping these guys and get them what you need. And I guess you have these reinforcement guys if you were going to try to boost everybody. One thing that would be kind of interesting, and I don't know what happens, is there's this discipline here, and this boosts the abilities of all your troops. So I wonder if you had multiple tech priests, if you could stack these abilities and turn those guys into some pretty incredible units. But you know, I definitely think getting at least one of them to be a melee unit by going down both of these, get them up to the engineer, and then you can get some auto healing, which will cancel out the damage that you take from corrupted technology. Alternatively, you could just pretty much get everybody corrupted technology once you get this engineer thing, and then you can increase their damage by 1. That would have been another option that I didn't really think of until now. Obviously, I think Ranger is generally much better. I think I just wanted to try what each thing was here, but I definitely, in retrospect, would have gotten more Lex Mechanics and the Dominus, and then I could use a lot better weapons because I could just keep stacking my cognition bar if I had more guys here, and especially knowing that you're not penalized for using the canticles. I didn't know how that was going to work. These guys are okay, I mean, but nothing great. So I do like it in the free canticle. That can be pretty cool. That's kind of an alternative way other than using the Lex mechanic and just filling the cognitions. You can use the canticles for that, but the other thing is they can use this to get the cognition points back from all the places if there's ones that have multiple spots. So I think that makes them just a little more beneficial than the Tech Auxilium, because I never use any of the troopers. It's kind of a wasted pathway for me. I think having at least one guy as the Engineer, because using the Benediction is a really powerful ability. You know, the Xenorite is not a bad pathway either. In fact, it could be good on any unit, including range. I didn't really think about that more until I'm actually really putting more focus on this, because you can increase your damage, and then if you get this ultimate resist arm, I think it resurrects them, so that would effectively allow you to get a free resurrection. I was kind of disappointed by the melee. I mean, it's good, and because if the enemies move out, that they need to move and you can get opportunity attacks. I think the melee would just be a lot better if you could somehow get dual attacks, because maybe there's something I'm not understanding about how to do that, because when we were going against the Heretics, each one of their melee units had 2 attacks, whereas I only have 1 on mine. But if you could definitely get 2 attacks with the axes, then the melee would definitely be a much better option. I don't know if the game designers just thought that was going to be too OP, given everything that's there. But I tend to use the energy weapons here. I might as well just trade some of this stuff out, I think. Well, that'll shred off energy armor. I don't know if the final boss is going to have energy armor or not, so maybe we'll keep it on. So indecisive. Alright, I think overall my guys are kitted out. I wish there was more things to spend points on. It's kind of cool the way they designed this, but it gets kind of redundant by the end of the game here, because I mean, I got all these points and I don't really have a lot to do with it. I mean, I guess I could do the Xenorite thing like we just discussed, potentially, just to boost them up, since we're just kind of chilling. Use up the points, I guess. I feel like you're already critting like crazy. Definitely getting this ability, the escape, was really powerful too, because it allows you to avoid any opportunity attacks that the enemy gets. Alright, so that'll increase their damage. Use up those points, I guess. If you hit spacebar, you unlock these secret missions here, and you get to fight a Catan, so that's good to know if you were wanting to try to see what all these missions are about. And the other thing I wasn't aware of that in retrospect I wish I would have done to make this a lot easier and get to do a lot more of the events inside the missions is if you kill the red enemy squares after you kill them, it'll actually lower your I don't know what you call it, awakening bar, I guess. And so that's something to take into account. Likewise, the other thing I wish I knew is, you get all these different items and things, but you need to do the low tier things to unlock, I think, the higher tier items potentially, because what was happening is I was frequently doing missions and I wasn't getting things, so I don't quite understand if you have to do a certain order in order to unlock everything, because I literally did every every mission that's available to us, and I still don't have all the things, and you have to get these things and then these character options from the missions themselves, because there's no events internally that I know about that unlocks these. So I think it's because I neglected some of the low tier missions for so long that I was getting a lot of missions where I wasn't getting rewards, just Blackstone, and I think that's because I was getting double items and things like that instead of getting new items, and so that's kind of a bad design from the game makers if that's the way it is, but that's the only thing I can think of unless there's more secret missions that I don't know about. There's a secret objective here, the Pioneeric Harvest. You get that after completing all the spacebar missions and killing a Catan, so it's definitely a great canticle to use. So if you're wondering how to get that, that's the deal there. But yeah, I don't know what else to really say. I think if I would have, instead of trying to experiment with each thing, like I said, if I would have kitted these guys out a little bit different and built them better, I would have gone through and definitely be using maybe the next tier weapons here, and because I could just, shoot all the cognition stuff, lower the attacks, fill up my bar, attack with more, and because it's like, here's one 7 to 9 compared to 4 to 6, so that's 30-40% increased damage, I think, so definitely could be a lot more powerful. The highly variable things, I just found that that's not super useful and can be detrimental on the harder difficulties because there's so much armor, so I mean it barely does any damage. And I just wish there was a little more variance with the melee axes too, because I feel like there wasn't a great one thing's way better than the other. I mean, they get progressively better, it shreds a lot of armor and everything, but this one just tends to do more. I mean, it does acid, but I mean, big deal. This one's free, so it does 5 to 6. I'd rather just shred the armor. So, and this was just like a unique axe here, the Sufferer Shattering Axe. But nothing too exciting there. Definitely kind of interesting, like this melee damage versus physical damage versus energy. I guess the thing I didn't think about is I think when you have these Xenorites, doesn't one of them increase your physical damage? Or maybe that's just the gloves increase the physical damage. Yeah, okay. That must be what it is. It's one of the gloves do it. So I thought there was something here that increased physical damage. Because I was going to say, if you're going to use your flamers, that counts as physical damage, and I didn't think about that until now. Yeah, it must have been the gloves themselves, so. Yeah, those are kind of my closing comments here, and my thoughts about this game. So let's see what the final boss is here. Twilight of the Gods. The tomb of Sazaragan has finally been discovered. Enter the tomb and destroy Overlord Sazaragan, master of the tomb complex, Necrons, and ultimate source of the threat posed by Sylvia Tenebris. Find and eliminate Overlord Sazaragan. And if you don't go through all these missions and beat the bosses, then all the bosses you don't defeat are all on this map, because when I first looked at it, there's like 3 or 4 characters, and as we beat them on the other maps, they become easy. They're not there. So if you're running into issues where you want to get to, you got too much awakening, you can always jump to this. And I think this is, I suspect this is going to end the game. And then you can fight those bosses. And then you won't have to do, because all the boss missions are pretty much linear, and so you almost always are going to get some sort of awakening from that, because you can't really get to 0 on those maps as far as I know, or at least I wasn't able to. Let's get started. Send out the A-team. Alright, use our servitors as meat shields if we need them. I'd rather just use all these cognition points to have the guys run out and get some attacks with my tech priest instead, so. Lavavistians 922. Knowledge will ever be a blessing and a curse. We have uncovered the tomb of this world's overlord, and it will soon be awake. It seems there is but one course of action open to us. Haste no, Lector Dogmatus. Tomb of Sazaragan. Potential. And now Fidex is right. I return equal parts determination and horror at the knowledge Overlord Sazaragan lies within. If there is anything I have learned at the altar of the Omnissiah, it is that the Xenos must die. Statement acceptance, if that is your will, Magos. My will does not matter. It is the will of the Omnissiah. Sazaragan is the catalyst, Magos. As he stirred in his sleep, so the Necrons begin to wake. Now he is risen. Every Necron on this damn planet is climbing out of its sarcophagus. That is why it has to be done now. I value target profile fragmented. Lord Sazaragan, capabilities unknown, reanimation probable, Xenos weaponry probable, extreme combat capability probable. I expect Sazaragan to be more than the equal of anything we have faced in this world, but is also the gravest dereliction of my duty if we left this world with the Overlord alive. Solution, calculated speed, fury, faith, code Venerator Omega. It's all my Skitarii can do to keep a foothold in the tomb. We can get your cohort inside, but that is it. If the will of Mars is with us, that is all we will need. The hound's hunger, the spear yearns, the hunt is on.
Every moment I learn more about you, the more I understand how to hate. This rage, this disgust that you feel at everything different from yourselves. That is what I feel for you. What quality, what virtue do your kind have that makes you deserving of anything but extinction?
Such flattery. Lord Sazaragan transmit to the very soul in and around the tomb intrusive thoughts that seem to originate from the thinker's own brain. Ambition, the determination to conquer the stars, steadfastness, our resilience in the face of constant threats of extinction, piety, our unshakable faith. I don't know. Ambition.
Stars, what do you know of them when they once went dull and cold at our command? What do you know of conquest? You who do not understand even the worlds beneath your feet. This galaxy was ours, is ours, and will be again.
Rough. The scornful feedback fills the notosphere, sending the cohort reeling as their augmetics are overloaded.
Such precocious ambition for such a young and insignificant race. Like insects with pretensions to build palaces from dirt. What do you think you will do with your weak, fleshly bodies and your fanatical devotion to gods that never were? What do you imagine you will make of this galaxy?
The voice of Lord Zargon booms from every voxcaster and comlink in the tomb, creating a deafening crescendo that is nonetheless undistorted and clear. Dominance. We will exterminate all Xenos and rule the galaxy as the sole lords of the galaxy. Destiny. We will build an imperium that will never fail. Perfection. We will advance the human race to the species as perfect as the machine. I don't know. Dominance? I feel like that's something they would say. Perfection could be one too.
These stars you have no knowledge of. There are enemies even now that threaten to consume your species whole. And yet we have watched empires rise and fall and ended all those who stood against us. The galaxy will not be yours. The galaxy will not even remember you.
Oof. Agonizing feedback screeches through the cohort's comm units, inflicting injury, as if to illustrate the inadequacy of the humanity's claim to supremacy. The image of Lord Zargon looms huge in the nonosphere, as if the physical form has a corresponding information halo that infects the very information in the air. The dread and disorientation this causes threatens to degrade the cohort's battlefield effectiveness. Sacredness. Have the cohort perform a prayer session to steel their minds against the Zargon's presence. Sacrifice. Have a cohort enact a painful self-flagellation ritual to purify the minds through pain. Scorn. Counters the Zargon's appearance with data prayers broadcast to the local nonosphere. Sacredness. Though the terrifying image of Zargon is undimmed, the cohort are at least able to focus their minds through prayer enough to concentrate on the mission at hand. Council Chamber Audience Hall. The magnificence of the tomb of Zargon reaches a crescendo in this chamber, where the walls were encrusted with statues of Necron lords, each with eyes glowing with some inner power. Concentric rings of hieroglyphics cover the floor, sanctify. Pray here to counteract the unholiness of the alien splendor. Smash. Do as much damage to the chamber as possible. The Necron monuments to themselves must be toppled. Search. Examine the chamber for useful resources or intelligence. Let's smash them.
Respond to the unknown with undirected violence. The definition of the animal, of the savage.
One trooper goes to behead one of the statues with a radium rifle stock, but the impact is returned in a flash of kinetic energy and throws the trooper across the chamber. The voices of Zargon oozes through the nonosphere. So did somebody else get damaged? I don't know. I can feel it, Magos, the unholiness of this place, the corruptive heart of Sylvia Tenebris. Run analysis, interrupt nonosphere, infection, corruption, contamination, speculation, hatred, inhumanity given form. There are not words enough in all the scripture I have stored to prepare us for this. High value target confirmed.
Magos Fastidius, I see you do not come in person. No matter, when your pawns are dead, I shall deal with you next. Nothing is beyond my reach. Certainly not you.
Overload sons of Zargons, yours shall be the fate of all Xenos, extinction at the hands of a species you have underestimated. You have tried to break our spirit, but you have failed. Now it is our turn.
I will show you what it means to know fear and stare your annihilation in the eye.
And we will show you what happens when you cross swords with humankind. Oh, he's kind of a cool looking character. So I guess we got quite a ways to run here. Do something like that.
Your fate was decided thousands of years ago, yet still you fight. What fury there is in your ignorance.
Oh, damn. Alright. Scary. Gotta get you healed. Back those cognition points. We're probably gonna want to space our guys out. Just heal everybody. Keep that going. Get you out of there. Ah, almost killed him in one turn. Hate to run you down here, because that means you're just going to get attacked, but I need those cognition points. Actually, since there's no counterattack, I can just pull you away.
Is this how you hope to destroy us, Archdius? With tricks and trinkets? finished with your galaxy. I would keep you as pets as a reminder of the absurdity of opposing us.
Heal everybody. Mission complete. Overlord Zargon collapses. Raw data spilling from his ruptured war form. The information howl that goes up from the tombs of Sylvia Tenebris is an awful death wail of utter abandonment. Many reports from the planet are mentioning Necron squads are locking down into guard protocols that make little strategic sense. It appears that they are not able to think on their own. Zargon and his lords must have been delegating orders all this time. It is done, brothers. The threat has been ascertained and neutralized. My neural vaults overflow with relief and exaltation. Mission complete. By the thrones of Mars, I never thought I would witness such a thing. The scriptures were true. There are horrors in this galaxy that only faith and steel can overcome, and that we should be grateful we shall never fully understand. Statement disagreement. There will be others like Zargon. Possibility equals worse. Glean every datum. Never be unprepared again. Enough. Our work on this planet is done. The Adeptus Mechanicus decide what is to be done with Sylvia Tenebris now. I wish to return to Mars. I wish to rest. Rest and pray, Magos. Study data recovered. Secrets to be uncovered. Imperative. Always learn. Always seek. Never rest. These are matters for the future. For now, let us return. Prep the ship for warp transit. Consecrate the dead and comfort the wounded, and leave this accursed world.
The lure of knowledge promised by the tombs of Sylvia Tenebris was too much to ignore. Acquisitor Scaevola took all she could fit into her internal data stores, and already spoke of astonishing weapons technology to be turned against our enemies. She did not remain on Sylvia Tenebris long. She left for Mars, taking her new learning with her, babbling on about reporting to the Dragon. I assume that's her term for the master of the Xenorite Order. With this trove of knowledge, their influence over the Tech priesthood will grow. The Xenorite cabals from across the Imperium make their way to Sylvia Tenebris, drawn by the reports of Malog's library and the knowledge still contained within. They will mine this world for its data until there is nothing left to learn. For good or ill, these secrets of the Necrons are ours, and the Adeptus Mechanicus will be changed forever.
Okay, that was kind of weird ending. I don't really feel like it concluded a lot. I mean, so the tech, we had one guy that became contaminated by the Catan and was killed, and then it looks like this Scarviola, or Scaevolia, however her name was, looks like she became corrupted as well, and then there's a lot of talk that the dragon is the Void Dragon, which is actually a Catan that's on Mars. And there's some rumors that's what they're praying to, and that could actually be the Omnicide, and they're worshipping a Necron Catan. So I think that's what that was trying to imply. That's kind of cool artwork. But that was Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus and the Heretek DLC. So I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. Hopefully it gives you an idea if this is something that you would be interested in purchasing yourself. Not a bad game, does get kind of redundant. The ending's rather lackluster. But interesting game, interesting mechanics for most of the time. Like I said, a little disappointed that couldn't get all the items and everything since we beat all the missions. I also wish the ending was a little bit more substantial, but in terms of the events, some of the artwork in the game is real cool, and definitely like the looks of a lot of this stuff. Not a bad game. I would say it's kind of average overall, but and unfortunately a lot of the Warhammer 40,000 games are rather mediocre, and this one's not too bad actually. So if it's on sale, go ahead and pick it up if this is something you're into, and maybe you'll enjoy it. The one thing I was going to look into is if I did new game. I did this on the very hard difficulty, so that increased the Necron health and more Necrons in battle, plus 1 extra fight not active early in the game. And yeah, okay, customize, this is what I wanted to look for. So, enable percentage awakening. Oh, I see. So you could actually just turn off the awakening gauge and be able to do everything. You could make it all the way to 5. Tomb awake level increase per battle. Tech priest modifier. Oh, I see. So this would add more health to them. Enemy units modifier. You do 200% enemy HP. 200 extra fights. So you could do a lot of those to decrease the amount of awakenings. CP movement cost. 1 CP per movement. Discipline tree unlock method. Oh man, random discipline. That could be annoying. Have a single skill used per fight. Tech can only be equipped once per TP. I don't know what that means. Enable enhanced exploration. I don't know what that means either. Enable narrative events. Enable glyph events. Available weapons. All. Enable AoE. Starting Blackstone. Blackstone revenue modifier. Maximum mechanicals per mission. Yeah, so those are some different things that you could play around with. Definitely by increasing the amount of battles, that would make it a lot easier. Permadeath, I guess that would be... I didn't really have issues with dying in this game. As long as you're careful, it's not really a big issue. I suppose that's where the advantage of the troops would be, is if you do end up losing your tech priest. I don't know if you get them back if you've unlocked one and just get a new character, or if it just forces you to have to use the troops instead. And I don't know what Iron Man would do. Maybe prevent you from being able to save in the middle of a mission. And then skipping the tutorial, obviously. Yeah, definitely when you're doing the first tutorial mission, I would not recommend fighting the boss, because it's impossible to win that battle, and it just adds a bunch of awakening to your game early on. So I would definitely just run from that. But hopefully this was helpful for you. Thanks for watching these videos, and if you're enjoying these playthroughs and my other ones, please give my channel a like and subscribe to encourage me to post more content for you. And final shout out to the subscriber that donated this game to the channel, so we were able to experience it and see what it's all about. Have a great day.